advocating for immigrants who are trying to get into housing here, in trying to advocate to make some of the affordable housing projects that you guys, that the town works so hard on, more accessible for people who may not speak English or people who have other kinds of barriers to that. Advocating to get a Summit Stage to bring a bus to a local neighborhood that has not been served by the Summit Stage forever, that kind of thing. And then we do have a legal, immigration legal component. Since the start, we've been distributing financial aid to immigrants to help them pay for some immigration legal processes, whether that's getting or renewing their DACA or helping to pay for certain filing fees that the government requires for immigration benefits, or helping them to pay for lawyers and legal fees. And we're now accredited to practice immigration law at Mountain Dreamers. Two of us are. So we're setting up a legal services program of our own this year. Myself and my colleague Javier. And so that is, in a nutshell, what Mountain Dreamers does. I want to say how much we appreciate the town of Breckenridge and this committee. We appreciate the town for forming this commission several years ago, and then it's been great to be a part of the immigrant subcommittee. And we've been, at the meetings with Flor and the others, and Isa and Sylvia, and it's awesome, and we're happy to be involved in that. Do you have any questions for us right now, or?
I just want to say thank you. And I know I got to meet the both of you over the summer at the doing when the Mexican consulate was here. And that was such a wonderful event, and it was really great to work with you and get to meet you both then.
And I was just to add something, and as part of the Mountain Dreamers, sometimes we have different direct services in the organization, but we focus on different three kind of steps of stages in the immigrant community. And as the integration part, and as when somebody comes to that a new country, and we help them to navigate and those resources. And the second part is the community leadership development. Peter was saying that the housing, the people who has needs, like the English classes or like different programs, but they can develop their selves. Like also they already integrate to the community, but you can give back to the community. And the third stage that I am very happy with Javier is the belonging. Is you already have your integration, you already are doing your leadership, but integrate to the community. And if you know that the culture, yes, but this is your home, this is your space. And this is the part of also that we want to, like, we want to create all those spaces where everybody feels safe and feels valuable. And I don't know, I love it.
We've got, a program that our colleague Javier does, which is a outdoor equity and inclusion program. So that's in the winter revolves around teaching people to ski and snowboard. And that's been a successful program. And this winter, he has done it at A Basin with about 50 people. And these are all immigrant locals, mostly adults. Many have kids who are in SOS and other activities, but they have never had the opportunity. And this year, that's the second or third year at A Basin, and then this year for the first time, the Breckenridge ski area and Beaver Creek are participating. So every participant gets a series of 4 beginner group lessons with all the equipment, the pass, everything, and taught by bilingual, bicultural instructors. So I think that you guys probably are interested to hear what we're doing in the current climate, where, we have a federal government that's anti-immigrant. First, I'll say that Mountain Dreamers is not changing its main strategy or its main vision, right? It's very important that we, together with the town, all of our partners, and together with you guys, it's important that we keep doing this positive, forward-looking, community building work. We can't just, at Mountain Dreamers, we're not going to just stop doing that because we have to do some defensive work right now. I think that's really important. People that are opposed to the kind of, opposed to immigrants, for instance, they want us to stop that work. But, we're not going to do that. We have taken an approach that is, and this comes from the team. We've tried to be strategic and be calm. We've tried to encourage, we are trying to encourage everyone to get information from trusted sources. That's very important. And we are working behind the scenes on a couple of issues. In the fall, we did communicate with town community leaders and local law enforcement, and we've been communicating with the schools, the administrations in the districts, both here and in Eagle County. We've been meeting with a lot of people in the community as well. But we deliberately didn't take kind of an alarmist approach to it.
Mhm.
And there's no one right strategy
Mhm.
for all this, but that's our strategy. And so we're, like everybody else, we're kind of reacting to what's going on and, trying to do things that'll help people be protected and feel safer,
And also, in the morning, I was telling Peter in the morning, the James from the ONA, the Office of New Americans, she was saying that we are fighting for the equity, but also we are fighting for the quality of life of every single person who is living here. And the approach that Peter was saying, like we had the Know Your Rights training that was like past week. And we have about 100 people just knowing the rights, but allies also, and leadership from the different towns that they were just showing there. Supporting the community, the immigrant community. And we are having that training of tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow, February. It's not Know Your Rights. Do you want to talk about that?
Tomorrow, we're doing a training. It's called a confirmer training. So there's the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition and other groups have a hotline that they staff 24/7, and it's for people to call and report suspected immigration enforcement activity. And so this was an operation like 4 years ago or 8 years ago. And we're getting trained up again on it. We've got about 20 or 30 locals, mostly US citizens who will be trained. And then if someone up here makes a call to that hotline and reports suspected immigration enforcement activity, then the people who have been trained up and signed up will get a text asking them to go check it out.
Okay.
And in our area, the way word travels, I'm usually going to get wind of that before I ever get a text from the hotline.
Mhm.
And we'll go check it out. And that's what we'll do. We'll see what's happening, if anything. If it's something that's blown up on social media and it's not real, then we'll report on what we saw. We'll report that, we don't have any confirmation. We'll communicate right away with local law enforcement, with Breck PD, with the sheriff's office, with the other police departments, see what they know. And often they'll say, yes, it's okay with us if you put out word to the community that we said, to our knowledge, there's no activity going on. I did that a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
And,
And
and it works.
You want to explain them why this was taken or why this action was made? Because I don't feel any of them are aware I'm
Yes, it-
sorry, I don't know, you can hear me. I don't, the how things started and why it was this measure taken. So you can explain them
Can explain.
why, because I don't think they had any idea that, when the rumor has it and people stop going to work and things like that.
It's because everybody from our office is mostly from different countries, but we are working in BGV. We're working in different spaces, and everybody was saying, "I am listening WhatsApps that ICE is here in Silverton and Dillon and City Market, Walmart, and was everything blow Like,
Mhm.
I can tell you, I had a client one Monday, and I remember this very well. On Monday was a person who came and said, my wife was taken in Aurora, and this spaces, she is in detention. And that was one Monday. And the Tuesday, that was like all the WhatsApps, all the Facebook, all the Latino community, they were talking about the ICE and these places. Also, people were left their tools in the construction spaces. They didn't want, I hear from the community that they didn't want to work in BGB. Also, if BGB is very supportive. They didn't want to go to schools. That was one day without immigrants. And the community was like, I don't want to go to the spaces, also to the English classes. I don't want to go to those, to different events. And they were scared. They were calling, do you know if ICE is here in the community? And also, after we finished with the sheriff, the social media started in Eagle County. And somebody called from Eagle County, can you confirm if ICE is here in the mountains? And we were trying to do the same. But what I love about this strategic is we could say, the sheriff was saying, we didn't, we confirmed that immigration is not in the county. And when we say the town of Frisco or the town of Silverton or the town of Breckenridge or the commissioners, I think so has more power to the community than just saying mountain dreamers. And I was asking since many time ago, like if you as community leaders, as town of Breckenridge can support the community and say, I was asking for a video, but right now today in the morning, I hear that the city of Aurora, they make a resolution for the city just supporting the community. I am asking for that paper, I can share with you, but I think so it's too important that you show the support to the immigrant community, undocumented community.
And can I ask, like, what's the best forum to do that? Because I think we all want to, but it's just ensuring that the way it's presented is actually something that they find supportive.
From my perspective, I am from Mexico. It's like if you come here and the commissioner, you say, I am here to support you. I am here to anytime or confirm or whatever, but just make it maybe a label or just having a video from the town of Breckenridge saying, I am here for you. I think so that will be very powerful. Your newsletter or just coming to the events. I had Flor and the town manager and the mayor yesterday in the English classes, and I can tell you those people, including my mom, never hear about that town manager. She never knew what you do, and also what Flor was doing as an equity person. And those places, you should show up. In the morning, I was driving and saying, you are waiting to the people to come to you, and now is the time of always is you go to the people.
So do you think it's beneficial for us to not only, show the support on like a social media platform of some sort, however, also showing up to things, things that are beneficial? So in the English classes or, showing our support by wanting to be one of those persons that is trained to then help out with the hotline, things like that. So just more advocacy in that way, like actionable steps.
Yes, I think so. And, there was some debate, I think, amongst community leaders on the councils and the commission in the late fall. Should we put out a statement? Because originally they're like, oh, let's put out a statement supporting the immigrant community. And they decided not to do that. And there's reasons pro and con for that. We decided at that time too, not to rush into doing kind of alarmist know your rights trainings right away. We're doing them now in a way that we think is strategic. But maybe there's a point where we have to stand up. And if the town, I'll just tell you guys, if the town council is going to stand up, they need you to make them stand up. You're the Social Equity Commission. And maybe they need to that they support their immigrant community in kind of no uncertain terms and get over this fear that they have that, oh, if we do that, we'll make ourselves a target, which is a false logic in my view.
It's interesting because although I'm not a member of the immigrant community, I am a minority. So it's interesting to understand and feel what you're saying and understand that being an ally is so important, and it's really hard to get those allies to speak up and do what is needed. But in reality, they are the strongest and most important, or not most important voices, but they are the strongest ones because they are more received. They're received differently than persons that are in that community of a marginalized status. So I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and I do support it. I wonder, has there been discussion about this, and what has been the feedback of maybe why we haven't?
Taj, I can jump in there
Yeah.
on that. So from the council perspective, our intention has always been to do what is impactful for the community. So I think that's largely the work that's come out of the immigration subcommittee that Mountain Dreamers is part of, that our focus is on those tangible efforts. And I think there might be a time where town wants to amp our communication efforts, but we've continued on the path. The I Am Summit videos that Floor has done in partnership with Mountain Dreamers. So we're not shying away from anything. We're continuing on the path and really on our community partners to hear what's going on, what is needed.
So you're saying, we're continuing with the support, but you're saying there needs to be a more like targeted, specific approach of like, hey, we understand the climate right now. We understand that, there's certain things that are going on, ICE is around, but we support you. Like you need a more like targeted message is what you're saying?
Yes, you don't have to be that I am a sanctuary city.
Mhm.
And what I was asking is like, I am here. And that was a little phrase that you can say, I'm here to support the immigrant community.
Mhm.
Like that sheriff, even the first time that he was talking in the La Voz, he
Mhm.
needed a very short 30 seconds, but just showing up like people were seeing somebody. And then after that was a video, longer video that she was supporting. And part of the I Am Summit is like, here we want to show that people, the immigrant community is contributing
Mhm.
to the community. It's like, you have to change two narratives. The people who lives here, the immigrant community, but you said the allies. And the allies they have to understand what is going on with the other people.
Mhm.
And I want to say something else and then I will be shut. I will be quiet. And the ally part is the businesses. More businesses, they are started to come to us, to Mountain Dreamers. And I was telling Peter, like, what about if ICE comes to the place that you are working? And then I was talking like, you can make a presentation to them, like
Mhm.
maybe one-to-one. If you know about a business that they want to know more information, then Peter can do it, or maybe do like a bigger one with Breckenridge restaurants. I forget. I'm so sorry. But yes, I
Okay.
think so. We have to just doesn't have to be a strong campaign,
Sure.
but just giving the information to them, like
Yeah.
the cars or something.
Showing resources and yeah. Okay.
Like I know how with town, like we put up, a lot of the businesses put up like pride flags. Like would there be like a possible to just like a sign that just says like, I support our immigrant community, and see if like, or I Am Summit, and just like ways like that to continue to show that we value and we need that aspect of our community here. Because I think that would be really powerful too, to be able to see like in a business's window that like they support all of our community, and not just one particular part of it. And we are just a big community, and the immigrant community is so strong up here, and is in every aspect of our community, that just to see something like that, like with pride, like just makes you feel better about going into a business knowing that they love all people
The
that are
diversity.
here.
I mean,
Do you want to share what we're doing with them?
With I Am Summit? Yes, we're the first session, we had videos from the community leaders that they were saying, I am volunteering, I am participating, or this is my contribution to Summit County. And the second part, that will be students and teachers. And also like when I hear from the English speaker community that you are here just you don't pay taxes or this or that, you are taking everything from myself, that I am a U.S. citizen, and then we want to show them, and that's the advocacy that we want to do. And the I Am Summit is a label that will have. We don't have the logo yet, but there's a label that all the businesses they will have it like DACA. I support DACA, or I support LGBTQ plus, and it's like a little label just to show up that community, that support. It's a very different perspective from the business than the leadership from the towns. But I think so if we work together, we will get it.
Yeah. And I think it also goes just back to, I think that a lot of persons who are allies don't necessarily know when to step in because they're like, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. But it's like, you need to just jump in and learn and, you know what I mean? And be there to, you know, just absorb all of the information and the culture and the feelings that are surrounding the community. And so I do, yeah.
Yes, and the English classes that you have,
Mhm.
that's a nice thing. Like we had in 2024, 36 volunteers,
Mhm.
and they were all English speakers. And we have more than 100 students for the 2024. And they were learning, as I said, like people just learning in that community, how everything works.
Yeah.
And that's the way how the English community supported those people, that diversity.
Absolutely.
And like how we talk about like using our equity lens, like if there was a statement that town council or like we were to put out, like we would want to craft it with you and not for you. Because that's the most important thing, that is the most authentic from that community. And it's not something that we're saying about the community. And we want to make sure that the words are the most pure and actually mean something to the community that they're coming from, and that the support is real and it's worked with and created in tandem, and not just something that the town decides is how they want to support. It's something that we work with you all together
Mhm.
on.
I was thinking about, uh, you're the Social Equity Commission and Diversity and Inclusion and Equity. And those words have been co-opted by the opposition. And to the point where there are groups of community leaders in this community now on boards of trustees, on other boards, and they won't use those words.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking is that when we use those words, when we use the word diversity, we don't want to just say we're for DEI. That doesn't mean anything. And it's been co-opted. If we say, we support a diverse community, we want to explain it in that same phrase.
Mhm.
We celebrate our diverse community because of these reasons because of these cultures and because of this good thing that it brings.
Mhm.
We are working towards an inclusive community where everyone has the ability to realize their dreams, where people aren't excluded. In other words, explain it, not just throw the words around. And so I think it's something that you guys could keep in mind when you're crafting communication and messaging.
Yeah.
I think a really good point that you had made was not only advocating for them in the sense of, not being deported, but also the quality of life. And, how it is how is their life within the, this country, and are they able to have the same, resources that I have access to, things like that. So I think that's also a really important point, because I think that sometimes people just think that it's good enough that you're in the country. And that's fine. You should just take that for what it is. But that's absolutely not okay. Or a message that we want to ever send. We want everybody to thrive, not just live here.
We've got two problems, though. One is that's our forward-looking, we want to thrive. We want to break down some of these barriers to exclusion and to lack of access. That's the equity part. But right now, we're also dealing with a serious threat. And a lot of the community that we serve is under threat. Many are very, very nervous. So much so that, as she mentioned, they're not coming to the English classes we have. They're not sending their kids to school.
Not going to work.
At the slightest little scare, they're running from the workplaces. The threat is real.
Mhm.
And so we have to, we have to try to manage both of those things. We have to be aware of them too.
Mhm. And it affects us all. It does, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? It affects us all in some way or another, right? And so I think people also need to see that piece where they need to help because it affects you too.
Yeah.
You know?
So we want to work on those forward-looking pieces, but we need community leadership
Hmm.
to stand strong with the community during this time of threat.
Mhm.
Okay. And we need a lot more, in my opinion, we could have a little more a stronger leadership in Summit County from our community leaders than I'm seeing.
Do you mean
We
in the
don't have to
context?
declare, oh, we're a sanctuary county or we're a sanctuary town. We're not asking for that.
Mhm.
But I think we could see stronger public leadership. And, you guys can be the ones that can push for that. And real leadership, it comes with risk, right? It comes with a little bit of risk. And you can avoid all risk. That's easy. But, I think we could see a little stronger leadership.
Mhm.
With all respect to, Carol and what she said in the council, and Carol's the greatest and helped us start Mountain Dreamers 6 years ago. But in my opinion, we could see firmer
Mhm.
leadership
In the context of what's going on with this climate.
in the context of this climate and
Yeah.
the threat, the
Yeah.
fear, the immigration enforcement threat,
Mhm.
basically. It's a threat. It's the threat of deportainment and family separation.
Though Carol made points about, the support that they're doing now, you're saying that's not enough. We need more and we need to hear more. What's the word?
Leaders, faces.
Yeah, but also you want, I'm hearing that you want specifically them to say, we support you during this time because we understand it needs to be addressed, that specific thing needs to be addressed, right? We
It's
just
very-
don't want.
It's very hard for them to do that. It was so awesome that Chief Baird and Shannon Haynes and Kelly Owens all came to the English classes last night. And they introduced themselves as Breckenridge. And like Urania said, many of the people taking these classes are new to the country and new to our society. And they loved that. They were taking pictures, meeting the mayor of Breckenridge and the police chief. And they're so nice. And we didn't ask them to address anything specific, but they did not address that issue. It's very difficult for people to talk about. They didn't really say anything like, and maybe it wasn't the right place for it. I'm not saying it was, but I would love if some of our community leaders could come right out and say, we stand with the immigrant community here in these times of threat. We're with you. I mean,
And yesterday I hear another phrase. I always say I'm with phrases. If you don't feel uncomfortable,
Uncomfortable, yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
Okay. If you feel like uncomfortable, you are in the right place.
Yeah.
And then also I hear many things that everybody was saying that name of Mountain Dreamers. This is something that Mountain Dreamers has to address. And I don't think so. I think so. It's like too burning I can tell you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday and Friday. And that next week was the same kind of stuff. That was everything for an immigration. And then you have to deal with all the job that you are doing. And I think so if we have all that support and everybody here in Summit County, that will be less burning for everybody.
we do get the feeling sometimes that it's like, oh, we don't have to address this issue. That's what Mountain Dreamers is for. No. We need community leadership.
And that's where the allyship comes in, right?
You're the only commission like this in Summit County. The other towns don't have this. It's a unique commission with a unique kind of purpose.
And I also think that it would be beneficial for us to learn our rights when it comes to ICE and things like that, like how am I, you know what I mean?
They're the same rights. They're rights under the Constitution.
Oh, sure. But like, you know what I mean? I think that for, unless I were to go and
Sure.
like, you know what I mean? So I think it needs to be known not just to a specific group, but to everybody within the community that needs to know what's going on
Sure.
with that.
And Mountain Dreamers, our approach when we have these events, and we'll have more of them, we don't limit who can come. We want allies to come.
Yeah.
The event last week we did with, we did it mostly in Spanish, but we had English interpretation. There were English speakers there. So we want everybody to come. And we'll have more of that.
I just want to say, like, our commission, we've all talked about like amplifying community voices, and this is what we're here for. And the town was fearless in putting together a commission like this for learning the things that they don't know and learning the things that they don't hear from the community directly. And I think that this is, we're being asked on behalf of our immigrant community to amplify their voice and to ask and to be an ally and pressure town in a way to let them know how our community feels.
Yeah.
So thank you both very much for coming here today and making us aware of what we don't know and how we can be an ally to you all and how we can amplify your voice and make sure that you are all heard and that the town hears those things. And I'd love to say that we'll do our best, but we need to do better than our best in this situation just to make sure that our community members are taken care for and know that they're loved. Because, this is an act in history where people are like, love is being taken away, like losing a family member is losing love. And it's not a thing I'm comfortable with. And to have an opportunity to have a voice and to be as fearless as the people that are dealing with this on the everyday basis and something that I don't deal with. And I didn't even know about the scare that happened through this town, and that worries me, knowing that, a lost day of work is potentially a lost paycheck, potentially a lost job. Like, those things hurt families, and that's just not something that we can be comfortable with accepting of, knowing, because if it hurts one person in our community, it hurts all of our community. Just knowing that people don't feel safe and feel comfortable here, like, that's.
Any of you are welcome to come tomorrow night to our, it's called a confirmer training. It'll have a know your rights component to it for sure. And it's going to be at the 10-mile room of the medical office building from 5 to 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
Yeah, and you can share it with us. Thanks for. Yeah.
We've got some room, so you're welcome to come.
And any time to the committee too.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make it to the immigration rights and subcommittee meetings to be more a part of those, because I haven't been in the past, but I do really want to start being more involved in hearing everything from everyone firsthand. And
Yeah. I honestly feel like I've been irresponsible, right? I feel like I haven't done a lot of the work that for my community members. Like, this is honestly the first time that I'm hearing the severity of people, not going to work and all those things. And although you hear about it, you just don't, if you're not a part of that community, it's just kind of hard to understand the gravity of it all. So I really appreciate it. It makes me have a fire under my butt to understand what my community members are going through, because I don't think that that's right, that people are hiding in their homes and afraid to live their lives on a daily basis. That's unacceptable, 100%. So thank you. And I apologize, and we will do better.
It's good. It's a topic that nobody wants to talk. And then it does, if you started the conversation, it's great. And then I told Peter, I don't like this topic, but the case that came to me, we always have to be prepared, and you have to learn just to give the information, and people can make the right decisions.
100%. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
also, just like with Peter, you being such a calming voice in the community, and I know you said that you were able to help help some people out with all of the information that was going on, if we can amplify that as well. So when things are going on, your channels of output as far as letting people know what is actually happening. I think if we could help calm the community in that way as well would be very important, just to know like you as a source will always be acknowledged, and like, hey, like this is where you go to if you are looking for this type of information, like calling that hotline or like reaching out to Mountain Dreamers to make sure, and we can get past hearsay a lot sooner. And it's not just like, oh, I heard from someone and now I'm freaking out and now I'm telling someone what I heard from someone else. And it can be a bit more direct, and hopefully then everyone knows what's going on at a better balance.
Yeah. We're different up here. We're in a rural area, small community. We're not like the Front Range. So we can jump on things pretty quick. Which is good. And because we're at Mountain Dreamers and we're there 5 days a week, we can get on it. And yeah, we'll work with everybody to open up the communication channels so that everybody gets the word.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wait. Go ahead, James.
And then our next speaker this evening is Mr. Esteban Ortega from our patrol sergeant from our Breckenridge Police Department.
Yes, sir.
Sorry if I got any of that wrong.
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
Sergeant Esteban Ortega, just gonna give you a little background of me. I started working with the town for like about 19 years ago. I was the only Spanish speaker for a long time. And I started working really hard with the Latino community because I speak Spanish. If I knew a different language, I would just reach to that community too. But
Can you use your mic for me?
Yeah. Hard to hear you.
There.
So soft spoken.
Might not be on.
You can use the other one if it's not.
just both.
Sergeant Ortega, there we go. Oh, yes, sir.
Working? It's good. Okay. So we're taking a little different approach than Mountain Dreamers. Our purpose is to educate the community, everybody in the community. What I started doing meetings with FERC, schools, clinics, everywhere to kind of teach the community, especially the Latino community, how we do things. So our goal was and is for the community to not be afraid of us. The lack of knowledge creates fear, in my opinion. You have knowledge, it creates power. So, the law, you're in a different country, so we need to learn the law in whatever country we are, right? So we don't get in trouble, and then we go to the cycle of like, if you go to jail, you get your fingerprints into the system, and you have a higher risk to get deported if you are immigrant or not citizen or resident. So my goal was to fill that gap and have the community come to us, and especially their victims. And that's the only concern that we have. One of the concerns that we have is right now that people that are afraid to come to us, especially when they're victims, because they think that we are ICE. And for us, and I can say pretty much every department in the county, we haven't changed anything. We haven't changed in the way that we do things. We support and we provide service to everybody. Immigrants, not immigrants, everybody. And we try to protect them, and we have to make an arrest, we will make the rest, So I guess what I'm asking you guys, since you are the community, you can encourage people to do those things, to learn the law and common sense. You don't break the law, you'll be fine, right? So, yeah, but it's a hard work. And I feel like when I started doing this many years ago, we saw the increase on people coming to us. Since I was the only one, we have a lot of people coming to Breck and say, hey, I have this issue, but that was in Silverton PD or Dillon. And so I was just directing them to the right entity. Right now, sorry, my son is calling. Right now, I feel like the community who was here before, a few years ago, many years ago, now has changed. So we need to start doing the same thing. And we were trying to do it since before all this. That's a work we never stop. So again, if you work, I don't know where you guys work, but if you, I was talking to Flor, like we police can invite people, hey, the community, come over to the police station. We'll talk about whatever you guys want, domestic violence, DUIs, whatever, drugs. What are the consequences? Like what happened when you get arrested? How we do a traffic stop. And I know firsthand. So that's where we need you guys to, you know, I actually went to a few resorts and talked to people about, we don't talk about immigration because that's not our area. That's the federal government, but we talk about how we do things and, you know, what happened when you get a DUI, what can happen if you're involved in domestic violence, especially you're the suspect, or how can we help you? You're the victim. So I think it's very important for the community to learn. And when they learn, they know the consequences. They will try not to break the law.
Right.
You know, and like I was use this all the time. Like if you don't make noise in the classroom, the teacher's not going to look at you. Kind of like the same here, right? So we can't say this is going to happen because we just don't know, right? But if we can give them the knowledge and what could happen, they'll be on their own risk, right? So, but I think it's very important to educate the community.
Do you have resources online that people can go to and look for those things? And the reason that I ask that is because do you think it would be beneficial maybe for you to carry a card, just like you have your own, you know, card that you give out maybe with every traffic stop, or I really don't know how it works, but a card that says in English and in Spanish, like, you know, for more information about your rights, visit this website, or for more information, whatever. And so you give that card to pretty much every person that you come in contact with during a stop. So at that point, they would be able to have those resources, an opportunity to maybe even look into those resources. Not saying that it's going to be a huge help, but would that benefit?
We don't have those cards. Everything is online,
Right.
You know, and if we have a card saying this, here are your rights, and then somebody's going to ask about a different topic, and we'll have a box full of paper. So people, whatever question they have, I feel like they can come to us and ask there. We're always there 24/7, or they can go online. I just encourage people to go to the website that you can trust, not just a random Wikipedia or whatever, you know? And I every meeting I say, like, just internet is not just for TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff, right?
Are you sure?
But
I know my First Amendment rights from TikTok.
exactly, you know,
for sure.
everybody's a lawyer, everybody's an
Yeah.
expert. We don't want that. So we want them to come to us so we can explain. And it is, honestly, it is hard for us to we carry a lot already, and to add more stuff, and you know, it's a whole thing. But we want to have those community meetings, and actually I'm working with FERC too. They're going to start doing community meetings, kind of like an open questions panel type of deal.
Sure.
I think that's more powerful, in my opinion. So we have a group of people they can ask, I can explain, or whoever goes there, they can explain, and kind of go to these websites. We can put it on the board, whatever, each meeting. It's like, here's where you can find good information. Educate yourself so you can know your rights or know the consequences of doing something.
Yeah.
And we get it. Each country is a little different. You know, I'm from Mexico and it's different there than here. So, but I need to know if I'm driving drunk and I get pulled over, more likely you're going to get arrested. If you get arrested, it goes into the database and all that stuff. So you're kind of like, hey, I'm here type deal. So we were doing, and I think we're going to start doing it again. We were doing the Citizens Academy, meaning we have like a mini police academy for citizens. And then we start doing a Latino Citizens Academy. So it was really good, and COVID and all that stuff, kind of everything stopped. But I mean, we can start doing it again. And I know the chief is talking with other chiefs and it's on the books to
Mhm.
start doing that again.
I feel like I
Have you-
know.
oh, I was just gonna ask, I know being an immigrant and have, parents that barely spoke the language, and this was 30 some odd years ago. I always felt like I was a conduit for information being passed to my parents. Have you guys thought about integrating what you're sharing with us through the kids and just making it more of like a community aspect of just, any kid understanding what the law is? Here's this thing, and then using that as a channel to get to the parents. Cause I feel like it sounds like you have a hindrance of, and people are not coming to you directly because of their immigration status or whatever the situation might be, but finding another path to get to to the person that you need to get
Mhm.
to. Have you ever thought about utilizing children or as a community? And
I don't know if the kids will be able to explain the law to the parents.
sort of opening that conversation. I think that's sort of how I felt growing up here, right? Like we was, hey, mom, we learned this about school, and we explained it in our native language and initiated that conversation. And then, because I think, yes, it's great that there's information on the web, but who's going to go to the web when they don't feel comfortable and they don't know the resources and the time,
Mhm.
right?
Just going to the schools, they have their own schedule. I know the high school has the SROs and they have laws, the criminal justice classes, and they talk about that at the high school level, which I think is great. I don't know exactly if it's every class or just some grades. I'm not sure. On
I
that.
can help you with that. So
Yeah.
yesterday we had a meeting with communities that care, which is one of our sort of subsets, and Ravi's on that with the school district, and so they're working on kind of some of this information, and it's not necessarily focused on. I mean, it's kind of a blending of kind of what's the law look like, but also kind of what are your rights is probably a better way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Both through the advisory periods and also an assembly, and then having the school resource officers do some in-class conversations. So I think to that end, they're working on resources to provide to the students. Primarily at high school, they talked about once they kind of implemented it in high school, then it would move to middle school. They didn't feel like it was appropriate at elementary.
No, but it's
for
just,
the
it's
record.
a way to empower families by way of children, like sort of, because that conversation can be initiated here and then be taken home.
Yeah, I mean, it will be up to the school. We just can't go to the school. Hey, we need to do this. We have to be invited, and that's what I'm asking to you guys.
Sure. Okay.
You know,
that
like
makes sense.
if Mom Dreamers have a community meeting like we did it last week, and if they have questions, we can answer. FERC is doing the same. We have a small group, but the work kind of goes out. And the main thing for me is just build that trust, and it's okay to come to us and either school or not school. I think we bring the parents like, hey, it's okay. We're not gonna, like we're here to help everybody, including you guys. So don't be afraid. We're not ICE. So whatever topic you want to talk about, meaning law enforcement, we're here to help. And we have 3 Spanish speakers in Breckenridge, and I know the sheriff's department has another 2 or 3. And I know they're willing to work with everybody. So
Go ahead.
Okay. I know it was something that we had talked about in the past.
Mhm.
But would there be like a possibility for like the Breckenridge like police department to do like the steps to a traffic stop? Because we talked about like how those things could just be different from like other countries to here, and just like
Yeah.
the information that you're looking for when you stop
I can
someone.
take that.
and-
So, yeah, we did. We have that. Mountain Dreamers will start spreading it here soon, but we did a video with what to do, what to expect, how to avoid getting into law enforcement radar if you don't want to. Yeah, so we have that coming.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, yeah. So even that, like a card, and I know you said you have like, there's a lot of responsibilities that come with being a police officer, but just a card handed out, the links on there, it links to that video. You never know. You never know who
Yeah, we
look
can.
it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
We can
But I just
think
think,
about it. I mean, and if we have a meeting, let's say again, your work if you have a community that you guys want to do a meeting and you want us to talk about more in depth on traffic stops, that's why the Citizens Academy, we actually teach them how to do a traffic stop.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they will be like, not a lot of times, most of the time, 100% of the time, is like, oh, I didn't know that you don't know who the driver is, because we have that, like, well, you just pulled me over because I'm whatever, like, no, like 99% of the time we don't know who's driving the car, especially during the night, that there is no lights inside the car, or we're behind the car, we know somebody's driving it, we just don't know who. And they see that, our perspective, and they understand, like, oh, that's why you approach the car this way. Like, yeah, I don't know if that person just killed somebody, is running away, and I just pull him over because he was speeding, and I don't know about what he just did or she just did. So they see the art perspective, and I think it's super beneficial for everybody, for us, and the people who goes to the academy, the Citizens Police Academy, they tell their friends, like, no, 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 this is not how they do. I learn, and they help us to everybody understand and trust us and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think that's great, and I hope it can get started again, because that information, especially now, is so invaluable to have more people who know how the processes go, and can help with that, like, prevention side of things, like, well, just don't do these things.
yes, sorry.
Finish your thought.
Oh, and again, if you want us to have a meeting, your work with whatever group, we're open to do that. If it's in Silverthorne, we just go and ask Silverthorne PD for respect, like, we don't want Breck PD just going everywhere, but usually we ask them, they invite us. I would just go and talk to the chief or the assistant chief and whatever jurisdictions. Hey, we got invited to this. You guys want to do it? That you guys want us to do it? Most of the time, we like, you do it. So, but yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's no worries at all. Apologies too for probably being more lost in deep thought and less engaging in this conversation, but
Okay.
I would argue by very nature of what I do on my day job, like, I'm very in tune to this conversation. So firstly, I want to thank Peter and Urania. Thank y'all so much. Like, we've got these at our front desks at the campus already, like, been working with you guys before, during, and now in the post aftermath of this one. I do have a question for you though, Sergeant Ortega, because I appreciate what you're saying. In my experience, there seems to be a lot of confusion, not only in the immigrant community, but also just in community in general, between the levels of law enforcement, federal, state, local,
Mhm.
right? You're representing local, town of Breckenridge.
Yes.
I don't know how many of our community, both immigrant and non-immigrant, understand that there is a difference between what you do on the ground as a local law enforcement, agent versus ICE, who works for the federal government. Forgive my ignorance, because I could be wrong on this one, but has the town of Breckenridge's police department made any statements in terms of their willingness, or not, I should say, in terms of working with federal agents? Because I think that will start to clear up a lot of the fear of what you do on the day-to-day basis, and might put a little bit of difference between a federal agent and you being a pillar of our community. Does that make any sense?
Yes, no, totally. And I totally agree with you. That is, again, the lack of knowledge, right? Creates fear. And they think that
You work for ICE.
because the news, the social media, we're part of ICE, immigration or whatever. The chief haven't say anything like an official announcement or nothing like that.
It's coming, because yet, no, I'm trying to marry both of these conversations, because there
Yeah.
is a space that we are overlapping right about now in this discussion.
Do you mind passing if she's gonna talk, do you mind talking into the microphone?
Oh, that's fine.
I think so. What he is trying is, I know. I'm sorry, I always talk. I think so that we are asking together is that somebody or the chief or the leaders come and say, this is what
Right.
we are supporting. It's like, I know that you are the only Spanish speaker or 3 more people, but if the chiefs come and say, this is my level that I can do here in the town of Breckenridge. And we were asking to the another chiefs in the town of Frisco and the town of Silverton. And I remember that I am speaking with the town of Frisco, the Silverton, and they say, I don't want to make a statement, but I can say this. This is my
Right.
level of, I am not participating with ICE, but if somebody committed a crime, then I have to give the information. But if you say that,
And
that little word,
I agree.
you don't, I always will say, you don't have to say too much, just a few. And also, you were mentioned the cards. We are asking to be allies, to be working together. You are making that job, but you know people. You are at the CMC. You are at the town of Breckenridge. You have your dentist office. And if you share that information, if somebody comes with a DUI, because everybody comes to us to the office and try to help their reinstatements, I think so you can give the information to the town of Breckenridge, or you can give the information to the town of the Mountain Dreamers. But it's that knowledge, I won't say that we don't want to educate. We want to educate to the community, because you
Yes.
have the knowledge, you won't do anything wrong. But I think so we are in the same boat.
Yeah, totally. And again, the chief haven't like the sheriff just made a video and all this stuff,
Fair
but
enough.
the message you were passing in every meeting that we go, every opportunity that we have is we try to make them understand the difference between local municipality, county, state, federal.
Right.
So again, that's when you guys come and play and you invite us to those meetings so we can educate people. That will be more beneficial. Like I'm not gonna type for the chief like where he's gonna do that
Right.
statement or not. That's on him,
Mhm.
But I know that. I mean, we were at the English class yesterday, and that's a message that we want to pass. First, that don't be afraid of us, and part of it is explaining why we are not part of ICE. We don't get funding for the federal government in that aspect. It's just here, Breckenridge, Frisco, whatever the case might be. And don't be afraid of us, and educate yourself so you're not breaking any law, not knowing, or sometimes knowingly, like everybody, but at least you know the consequences, the possible consequences, because it's everybody's case is a little different. So at least you have a general idea what could happen to you if you do A, B, or C, or whatever.
Question. Thank you for that clarification too. And before I ask the question, just give you a little context. Like the spirit of my question came from, unfortunately, I couldn't make your ESL classes because I was doing an observation at mine yesterday, right? And I would have loved to have had the opportunity, for instance, to make a bold statement in terms of town of Breckenridge is not actively working with the federal agents.
Mhm.
However, if the federal agents come to the town of Breckenridge with something tangible, then they have to do their jobs.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of in the spirit of what Peter was asking us of, right? Like, do I have the legs to stand on in my circles to make those statements about the town of Breckenridge's police department?
Mhm.
Say something real quick.
Yes.
Sergeant Ortega has come to several different events. I've seen him more in the last week than I've seen him in. And he has made those statements that differentiate what the local Breckenridge police do as opposed to what a federal agent like ICE does.
Awesome. Thank you, Sergeant Ortega.
Yeah, he's done a great job at that. I would encourage you to encourage the chief of police to make such a statement,
Fair enough.
like the sheriff recently did, which I thought was a good statement. He made a good video.
Thank you, Peter.
That exactly. I mean, he's the chief, so I'm not.
Yeah. And you're saying that you would love to do a little bit more community outreach and go to these places and speak, but it's not on your choice. It's not like you're going to go in and say something. It's more of like an ask from the community to you saying, hey, we want this education. Can you come let us know?
Exactly.
You just need that
Yeah.
invitation. It's like a vampire. You need an invitation to come in.
Yes,
Mhm.
and the reason why I'm asking you guys is because if I do it, and I've done it before, hey, we have an open panel at the PD, we have 2 people.
Right. Yeah.
Now, and I get it. It's just they just don't know, and they're afraid.
Yeah.
But coming from somebody that part of the community that they trust, Mount Dreamers, FERC, you guys,
Mhm.
and say, hey, I'm gonna organize a meeting, whatever you guys want. I don't know, however you guys wanna do it and say, well, I know you're part of this committee. I trust you because you're representing the community.
This community, yeah.
You know, and they can say, okay, I trust you guys, so I want to go and learn something. So it's more effective that way based on what I saw in the last 19 years.
Absolutely.
So
Do you guys all have business cards, by the way, with your direct contact information that you could leave
I-
with us?
left everything in my office. I just came from work.
I can email you.
Floor, and Peter, do you think there would be like an opportunity for, Sergeant Ortega to come to our subcommittee meeting? Would that be a good venue, like an online venue where you could still have some, anatomy, anonymity?
Anonymity.
Yeah, that word. To be able to like ask those questions online via like through text, or through voice, like in a Zoom meeting, just because you wouldn't have to put your like actual name. So like, would there be an opportunity
Like
for
on
you to like to, yeah, like just to come to our subcommittee meeting, because I know Mountain Dreamers is a part of it, and open it up to the community, so that way you'd be there to educate through our subcommittee, as well as if anybody had any questions of you with the current aspect of the world, like they wouldn't have to be there in person. So there would just be that opportunity to get the right information from the proper channel without the fear of having to sit
Being
and
present.
yeah.
I'm open to be here in person if need to, and online too. I mean, I guess if you're inviting the community, I guess some people will show up in person and other people will be online.
Yeah, it would be like just a Zoom meeting, so
yeah.
it would all be online, but it would just give that opportunity for our community members who might be a little bit afraid
Mhm.
to not have to have their camera on, but still be able to ask you a question.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
think just another opportunity to get the right
To reach
information
people
from
and-
the source of where that information deserves to come from, would be very powerful.
Yeah, I'm open to it. Just we need to coordinate the dates.
Yeah, we could find a date and we'll push it out far enough that hopefully we can get a lot of our community members who do have questions to either send them to us beforehand so that they can be addressed in the Zoom meeting, or if they want to be present themselves to ask them, that opportunity would be there as well. Like, I think that could be.
Yeah, and it will be good if when you invite the community, if you tell them like, hey, if you can have the questions ready, so
Mhm.
we have like a
Best
flow.
efficiency,
You
yeah.
know, yeah.
Mhm.
I think that would be cool.
I think so too. Sometimes in person they get shy, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I get it for sure.
And yeah, if just depending on how the first one goes, just find times like that to have that reoccurring avenue to ask questions directly to someone who can answer them.
Yeah.
Just because again, there's always that fear, and just with our community too, there's not always the opportunity to ask someone directly what the answer
Yeah,
would be.
I guess
and,
I'm old school. I like the
um,
face-to-face contact, right? But yeah, that's a great idea, I think. So
we keep the answers coming from our community and not from an online source from somewhere else in the country who the experience may be different.
yeah, each
Um,
community is different.
Right. So that way they'll know what the answers are to those questions from officers in our community. And that can, again, just create another layer and level of comfort, to, even if it's just an email, and we can just kind of respond to those things and,
Or we can get.
like
a
capture
resource.
all of the answers that you may have throughout the night with.
We can have 2-3 officers. So if there is a lot of people, they can answer. We be more efficient and
Yeah.
have 3 stations or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
3
I'd love to
officers
open
and-
up like our email for that as well, just so if people don't feel comfortable emailing like a police officer, like email address.
I'll say I think the meeting online, the Zoom meeting would be great. Not trying not to do it, but like we have a lot of emails and we don't want them to get lost on the inbox,
Yeah,
So I think we set the time and date and okay, be ready, community, be ready with your questions. And we, like I say, we can have 2-3 officers that we can be responding as we go,
Mhm.
if we get the emails to our Breckenridge Social Equity and Advisory Commission email, we'll be able to then have them for you for the Zoom meeting.
Mhm.
So that way we can just start it out with like that rapid fire, like, hey, we've got 10 questions and you can just go down the list and answer them. And then that way your emails aren't getting blocked up. And then, if there's more comfort with emailing the Breckenridge Social Equity and Advisory Commission, because
Yeah, for sure.
we're communicating them to you and we're not a government official outside of a town commission who wants to be there for everyone.
I love it. Yeah.
I think that could make things a little bit easier as well. But I do want to give you an opportunity to speak to the community directly and continue to educate, because I think that there's a lot of value in that. And I think with being the capability of doing things online now, that the anonymity that can come with that, and even if it's just emailing questions, like hopefully we get a lot more engagement.
Yes.
So that way we can start to build that trust, because I think
Sure.
that's so
Yeah,
important.
that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll get like details. I mean, the only questions that we don't answer is immigration questions. We don't know the law
Right.
on immigration. So if they know that, that's fine. So,
Yeah, but even if they're asked, just for you to be able to make that statement like, hey, these are the things that we can do.
Yeah.
Again, are
Yeah.
just so powerful to hear it from you.
of
You're such a
course.
great speaker, like, to hear it from you is a lot more powerful than
Yeah.
hearing it from us. And like how Peter's saying, like hearing from sources directly, or just, that's how we're going to continue to build trust in the community in these times especially.
Yes, and that's I always tell them, like, just come to the right source. Don't believe what your neighbor or your cousin or whatever told you. Because we have the rumors about immigration being here, and then I mean, if they have calls, I'm sure they have more than me, but I have a few calls too. So I asked the person, like, who told you this? So and so, so and so, so and so, so and so. Is like, okay, I was like, no, just come to us, we'll tell you. So yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea. Again, I'm old school, so I didn't talk about the Zoom meeting. I think we'll reach more. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm fine. It's just like I never thought about it. I think we
Yeah.
can reach more people in the community. So that's great.
And we'll invite our college faculty, staff, and students as well to come or log in or tune in, and because we have, as you know, I'm sure, similar concerns and issues for our students. So.
For sure.
I'm really excited.
Of course.
about
Me
it.
too.
Just the opportunity to help everyone feel comfortable, because we have such a loving community here that I want everyone to be happy. That's just my personal goals on life, and I love everyone, and I just want everyone to feel safe and feel happy. And if it's something that we can organize to help facilitate that, then that's what I'd love to do.
Yes, and that's our goal. Like, especially if you're a victim, we don't want you to stay a victim and not say anything to us. That's not quality of life. We don't want that. So educating people, telling them that we are okay to come to report a crime, and that's the main goal here. So
Sylvia, I think might have a question online.
Hey guys, how are you good doing?
So
Hey, good, you can hear me. Well, another thought that I had would be maybe doing like a series of educational materials through like Summit TV. I know like we've done a couple episodes like promoting the Equity Commission as a whole, but doing something with that with PD that we could promote online too, like different links and things like that, so people can watch it while they have time, like recordings of it, something like that, that is not like only 5 minutes, something more in detail could always help as well.
yeah, like if we could take like maybe some of like I guess we can decide on like what are some of the more important questions or issues, and then like do those as like on Summit
Yeah,
TV.
like a mini
Like-
series of something that we could just promote or have recorded, so we could always refer back to these. It's not just like information having for the people that attend these meetings, but more material that we can have on contact that we can promote later on as well. Or if someone can't make it to the meetings, they can still get that information firsthand.
Yeah, like especially if we get like one question asked a ton of times, like we can see how important that is to the community to know the answer to, and make sure that it's seen in more places.
Yeah, and going back to Duala's comment, like, I think, reaching our high school students, I know it might be a little hard to implement with their curriculum and things like that, but I know, like, the police department in the past has done, like, DARE programs and things like that for elementary kids. I think it would be wonderful to implement something like that for older, students, because ultimately, once these people start graduating, they're the ones that have the voice, the power to vote, and, we definitely want a good educated, youth, and empower them as much as possible.
Yeah, we're never too old to stop learning.
That's exactly true. Yeah, but that was all. Thank you.
That's it. Do you have any more questions
Nope.
for us? Or
No,
does
that's
anyone
all.
have any more questions for Sergeant Ortega? Okay, thank you so much for your time, and
Good.
we look forward to working with you in the future and helping educate our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Everyone's so awesome tonight. I loved the conversation that we've started, and it seems like we have some good ideas on where we should head with those conversations and how we can help our community.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we have our commission member seat update. Are we gonna do that for? Yeah.
Yes, but bye guys.
Have a good evening, y'all.
I think real quick, we want to start by thanking Lori and Sylvia for all of their great work. Sylvia, we had flowers for you, but you're not here. How are we gonna get
Aw, thank you. I'm sorry, guys. I've been sick for the last like 3 days now. So yeah, I excuse my voice. I didn't really want to talk, but then I always have something to say. So I apologize. That's why I didn't come today. But I would love to see all you guys.
No worries. So yeah, we wanted to thank them for everything they've done. They've been incredible, amazing. They've had lots of input and wonderful things. Jay, do you have anything to add?
I love them.
And do you wanna make the recommendation or?
No. I forget. I'm horrible with names for.
So am I. So after reviewing, it was really hard, I think, and I'm speaking for basically Carol and Jay, so I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. But it was a really hard decision to decide. I think we had 6 applicants and 3 interviews, and the 3 interviews were great, and they all had their strengths, and they all had wonderful things that we really wanted from them all. But after a discussion and like analyzing what our commission looks like and the things we might need from each commissioner, the subcommittee recommends that we appoint Michelle Mahoney and Abigail Martinez. Michelle is a local community member that works with ECO, Early Childhood Options, and she works with low-income families to basically be able to access their resources. Is a local business owner as well in Breckenridge, and just really wanted to have was very prepared and had like she's ready to go. She's gonna make us work, I think, because she's really prepared and ready to go. And Abigail Martinez brings a great perspective. She's originally from Oaxaca, so she represents a huge part of our
It's the one here.
Spanish-speaking community. Yeah, she
Awesome.
represents a huge part of our Spanish-speaking community members in Breckenridge, and she speaks their native language as well, or native tongue. So I think it'd be a great asset to have, especially as we start communicating with them and building that trust. So unfortunately, and Sylvia will not be continuing with us, but we're very grateful to them for everything that they've done and continue to extend the the application for future terms that come up, and we'd love to have you again. And we wish we could have everyone. It's always really hard to decide.
And we
But
still want
yeah.
you at subcommittee meetings.
Yes.
We're gonna get those emails. We still want to hear your voices. We do.
As much as I
Yes.
can. Thank you all, though. Like, truly, it's been a pleasure, and all of you. I'm so glad to call you my friends. So.
Thank you. I had no idea this was
Make me cry. Oh, no, fuzzy from my sweaters in your beard.
It was it was really hard. I don't like interviews. I don't want to do these.
We have to replace our lovely members, right?
Yeah. It's I love everyone, and I'm very thankful for having had the opportunity to meet both Lori and Sylvia, and had the opportunity to work with you both over the years. And you both like helped me grow so much as a person, to learn to ask questions that I had never thought of myself and of our community. And as everyone who's been on this commission, and as someone who's been here from the start, I've had the opportunity to learn from so many wonderful people, and I always want to embody aspects of everyone that I meet, and continue to grow as myself, and continue like the legacy of all the people that we've had on this commission, and continue to push and continue to make it better. And I hope that when I'm gone, like everyone else will just continue all the questions and ideas and plans that I had started, and just continue to make this town wonderful and awesome. And I don't want to lose you both. So I do hope that you both continue with the subcommittees as much as you can. I hope so. A little.
It was like, I feel like a quiver in your voice. Gosh.
Thank you, Jay. That means a lot coming not just from you, but for the entire commission. It was very rewarding being part of this project, and I thank Isa for kind of pushing me into this opportunity too.
Forcing
So
you.
thank you.
Well, hopefully you do the same as I did, right? I was here, I left and come back, and I did it, I leave it because I went to school, and I come back and come back to our community, and I feel you're gonna do the same thing. So
That's the plan.
Well, thank you both.
Of course, no, thank you, carry the torch, do good things. Call me if you need me, I'll be around, not going anywhere.
Always.
The aspect of time. We're
this one's really quick. We basically just need to approve the change in the rules and regulations. And the only reason why, Sylvia, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. The only reason why we're changing it is because we changed our meeting dates.
Right.
And so that's the only change that there was. Nothing else. It just represents our new dates and times.
new schedule. Yeah.
So if you guys are okay with it and feel good, can you?
motion to approve.
I'll
And
second.
Thank you. I think I have to say that all of say aye or what?
aye.
I
No opposed. Okay. Thank you. Oops. Green. Perfect.
Yeah. So I guess one quick update. For Women's Month, we are going to ask for nominations for Women of Breckenridge, who everyone thinks are awesome. We will email out the form for everyone to see and to nominate the women in your life that you love that are awesome here in Breckenridge.
Do they have to live in Breckenridge?
Uh,
Just wondering.
Or serve Breckenridge somehow.
Sure. I'm just making sure people aren't like submitting their like mom, like myself would do. Or, just as an example.
You can submit your mom. She has helped the commission. She's awesome.
Thank you.
If that was the question.
We love
I
her.
love your mom. Your mom's awesome. But all other updates can be found in the notes.
The only other one that from civic engagement, we have the NRO grant. They're
Mhm.
asking for $2,500 for music lesson scholarship programs. And we looked at the application and it looked great. Ujala and Jotwan, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think they'll bring a great service to our community and to the kids. Yeah. Did we approve it?
We did, yes, and unless you guys have any objections, we will move forward and let them know.
Nope, they're awesome. I love them. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that they're here every year to play music, and went to the concert at the amphitheater last year and it was awesome.
Mhm.
One of my neighbors, the executive director.
He's awesome. He's so cool. He came like our first year here. He was so like Dave a lot. I just keep encouraging to them to like find the ability to play at like some like local bars and stuff like that, and just even if it's just like little break off groups that just want to play music instead of just like outside of the realtors, because I know that they play there, then they practice in front of the Riverwalk. But if they just wanted to do other shows, I'm pretty sure that there are other
And,
potential venues in town.
and this is to expose the kids, which I think is fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
music, I think, is a love language that can open a world to everybody, so.
100%.
It translates all vocal languages. You don't need to
It's
understand
a
what
strong
people are saying
application.
to feel the soul of it.
Very strong application. They've gotten stronger and stronger.
I just wish they would stop at stop signs so don't accidentally run one of them. It's just through things and you're like, it's like in the peripherals. I just can't see it. Tangent.
Any upcoming council discussions that we need to be aware of?
Just any questions? Obviously, it's included in the memo. I'm gonna knock on wood. What does it say this? We have fairly light agendas for the next couple meetings.
that's what
We're
it
actually
seems.
starting at 3. I can see a couple council members who are pretty excited about that. But there's some, like, there's a FERC presentation. Their FERC presentation was last meeting. There's a Building Hope presentation at this meeting, which I just uploaded some of the information, which would be really useful to see. Kind of study of how our community is doing from a mental health standpoint. So it might be worth looking at the packet when it comes out, probably tomorrow afternoon. So
Interesting.
happy to answer any questions in the interest of time.
Scott, I got a quick one.
Sure.
With the Soul Center for FERC, do we have like a ribbon cutting, or when is that officially set to be open?
So my understanding from the presentation that Brianne gave last week was that it'll be opened by the end of the year. I
Okay.
believe that's generous. I think they're probably hoping earlier than that,
Earlier.
but the end of the year, they have officially halted their fundraising efforts based on the donation they received from BGP.
Wow.
So they are done
Oh, wow.
with fundraising.
love that for them.
And so the ribbon cutting will come after, again, construction, and they finish it up. But by
Right.
the end of the year would be the latest, as I would see it.
Okay, that was all. I just had that random question.
And everyone go because I helped name it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was. I worked with them, that team, the
Awesome,
Soul
Joy.
Center at FERC.
Walk by it every day. It's part of my dog walking.
But thank you all, everyone, for coming to today's meeting, and little Quinn. And I'd like to adjourn today's meeting, and I just need a second.
I'll second.
Perfect. Oh, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sylvia. We love you.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
I'm gonna
Take
have to
care.
find you at on campus.